Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome here for another celebration of the FNR Awards 2022. It's so lovely to see you here present, and a very warm welcome if you're also joining us online, watching us through the video stream that we have all become so accustomed to because of COVID. And because of that, we are extremely happy to also have you here present. Many familiar faces, some new faces as well. Welcome to you all. Very happy to have you here, Minister Claude Meisch, and also Your Excellencies. Welcome to the FNR Awards 2022. We're here, of course, to celebrate a vast range of subjects and studies united under the banner of the Fonds National de la Recherche. My name is Lisa Burke, and I'm delighted to be joined again by Michel Weber, who is a science communicator with the FNR.
Yes, welcome also on behalf of the entire FNR. Die Damen und die Herren, lieve eregast, herzlich willkommen auch von meiner Seite. Now, we have some amazing projects and people to share with you over the next couple of hours from the world of science and science communication, and in fact, science education. But before we get to that, the regulars among you may have noticed a small novelty.
Yeah, we have, you will have noticed and you will have heard them playing the wonderful GAMP Jazz Quartet. So we're so happy to have you here. And a little funny story is that some of you didn't know what you were called because, in fact, I believe the name was created yesterday with the first initial. So welcome to the newly formed band, the GAMP Jazz Quartet. We're delighted to have you here and celebrating this night with us.
Now, the awardees that are presented tonight, they are selected according to a specific process. In fact, the FNR receives applications in 4 different categories, which are then reviewed by international experts and shortlisted. And then there is, in fact, another international experts panel that comes together to then select the awardees. And I'm also really happy to welcome our FNR Awards panel chair, Professor Stuart Maudsley from the University of Antwerp.
And as with last year, the trophies that you can see on either side of the stage, they are 3D printed from steel, initially designed by Rodolfo Baiz and further developed by Dean Kaufmann and Amsol, produced in Luxembourg. And they come with prize money of €5,000 per award.
Now, before we get started with the procedure of the awards ceremony, I would like to take a short moment to commemorate the founding Secretary General of the FNR, Remo Bausch, who unfortunately passed away very recently and much too soon. Remo Bausch held the position of Secretary General from the creation of the FNR in 1999 to 2010, and his actions allowed the FNR to develop, to grow, and to lay the foundations for making it one of the most important players in the Luxembourg research system. Now, for those at the FNR who had the pleasure of working with him, the news of his passing was quite emotional, and they describe him as a person who was friendly, open-minded, with a deep sense of integrity and driven by the desire to advance public research in Luxembourg. Thank you, Remo, for everything you have done for the FNR. Now, I would like to ask you all to stand up for a brief moment to spend a few moments of silence together. Thank you, everybody. Now, to talk more about the FNR, I would like to welcome its current Secretary General, Mark Shields, on stage, please. Now, Mark, we are here to celebrate science and research tonight. Are you excited?
Well, I'm glad to be here. Yes, I'm certainly very excited, and I cherish this moment which we have once per year, indeed, to celebrate science communication, to celebrate research, and to celebrate all those that are involved in this enterprise, where we stand at the frontier of the unknown and where we explore new fields. And I think we should pay tribute to those that are involved in this exercise, and that's what we're trying to do tonight.
Absolutely. And now we want to spend a few moments talking about research culture. In fact, many researchers, also from Luxembourg, during the pandemic, they were sidetracked, which meant that they made valuable contributions with their expertise, but that also meant less time on their specific research projects and less scientific outputs, especially in terms of scientific publications. But many researchers are now worried that this might impact their career, and this then begs the question, what do we want to valorize in the research system nowadays?
Well, that's a very good question, and I think I think we can all be extremely grateful for the great work that research and science has done during the pandemics, including here in Luxembourg, where quite from the first day on, scientists and researchers committed and to help solving this very pressing and urgent crisis. They engaged into a task force to help give advice to decision makers, give advice to the government, doing simulations and projections on how the situation might evolve day by day, week by week. And indeed, it's true that about 6 months into the crisis, discussing with these researchers, I heard from some of them concerns, and elsewhere, talking to my colleagues abroad, the situation, they reported a similar situation, that scientists were concerned that by committing too much into solving that crisis, they would not advance sufficiently on their other projects, and they would not publish enough, and that triggered somehow a problem which was long present, I think, in the science system. About what do we value in science. And I think science has this huge social and societal value which sometimes is unappreciated. And we have somehow slipped into a system where we put too much emphasis on a narrow set of criteria, mostly about publications and mostly about metrics and impact factors. And I think there has been a realization that science is much more than just that.
Okay, and I believe there are some efforts ongoing at the European but also international level to change how research is assessed. Can you briefly summarize what's going on there?
Yeah, that's true, and it's at the initiative of the European Commission together with the European University Association and also Science Europe, which is the organization that brings together funders, national funders in Europe, that we sat together and say, well, at least we should try to improve and broaden what we value in science and in research. And it has gathered a lot of momentum because there are already more than 100 universities and research organizations which have joined that movement. There are many more to come to that will commit to go into a more qualitative assessment and not just look at rankings and at metrics and at KPIs and these kind of things, which are sometimes very narrow-minded. And it's somehow, I think, science and research is such a diverse activity that it's not really sensible to try to project that into a one-dimensional metrics. And that's the movement that has started and will continue.
And the FNR is, of course, following that movement and is part of it. Can you maybe give some concrete examples of what the FNR has already implemented or is going to implement to change how research is assessed?
Well, I'm glad to say that actually our evaluation at FNR has always been fairly qualitative. Our reviewers and our committees, they read the proposals, they discuss these proposals. So the quantitative numerical elements never have played really an important role in our assessment. We've also introduced, we have spearheaded the introduction of a narrative CV. So that's a type of CV where researchers are not just listing 10 pages of publications, but where they're asked to describe the different types of contributions that they have made to society. We have actually, with some others, we have actually pioneered that and are recognized in Europe for these progress. And let me say, I think what we will discover this evening is also testimony, because we will not just reward here science. There will be science, there will be top science that will be rewarded here, but we will also reward science communication. We will reward science outreach. We will reward mentoring, very important activities, and all these are activities which you can't just find into in impact factors and H indices, and which are nevertheless, I think, very important to value. And that's what we will be doing tonight. So I'm very much looking forward. Let's start.
Yes, so we have one more interviewee before we get started, but thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.
Now, it's my great pleasure to welcome on stage Minister Claude Meisch. Well, we all know, Minister Meisch, that you are Minister for Higher Education and Research, amongst many other things. We've just heard from Mark Schiltz about what he thinks we should value when it comes to research these days. Does that fit in with the political vision and the conversations that you're having?
Absolutely, I completely agree with Mark Schiltz, and it's written here in these words, research with impact, and that's exactly what we need. We need high-quality research. Of course, we need fundamental research also from a high quality on an international level. We also need it here in Luxembourg, and that's what we're doing. I can finance it, and you are doing it. And on the other hand, we need also concrete applications that serve to society. And that's just what this idea is about, that's what this evening is about, that's what research in Luxembourg is about.
Now, next year, it's an election year, a very important year. You're lucky that they come round not as frequent as those in the UK, and so it gives you a bit longer. You can think longer term about what you've achieved, to reflect on what you've achieved. What have been your highlights?
There were many highlights. One, of course, and Mark Schiltz already mentioned it, was the COVID crisis. To see a whole research community where everybody, until one special moment, was so concentrated on his own project. And then from one day to another, they all switched and were engaged to help society, to help humanity, to solve this global crisis where nobody knew before what it is about and how we can do one path after another to come back to a normal life. And that's, I appreciate really this spontaneous reaction from everybody in this research ecosystem in Luxembourg. And that helps really our decision makers, the government and other people a lot to be supported, because it was really a completely new situation. And that's also the idea what and how research can help society. We will always be confronted with new situations. We are now confronted with a new situation on international energy markets. And providing energy for our industries, for our housing, will be completely changed during the next 3, 4, 5 years, perhaps, and perhaps it will go faster than anybody could imagine 1 year ago. But we need also for that, we need the help of science in Luxembourg. That's just one example. I can mention many other examples.
Well, perhaps that will come into my next question. If we can guarantee, let's assume the financial support is there from the government, over the next 5 years, what do you think the priorities for research should be? Now, this might be with you at the helm once more, or it might be advice that you could give to a successor.
It's not my role to give advices to my successor.
Suggestions.
And normally I did not suppose that you will ask me now all those journalist questions about the next election.
No, just I will
try to answer. When I look back, and some people are in the room that can do it better than I, there was always an important and a very large consensus in Luxembourg politics, but also in Luxembourg society, what research and also research policy will be about. We started this evolution 30 years ago with a commitment to more investment in research in Luxembourg, with a commitment to develop high-quality research in Luxembourg, with a commitment to collaborate between different actors here in Luxembourg, but also with the idea to help society and also humanity. And that's what it will be also be about in 5 years, in 10 years, and I hope in 15 years and forever. Of course, things will change, because society will change, and when you want to help society, you have to adapt yourself. You have to adapt the manner in which you organize and you manage and you govern the whole system, the ecosystem of research in Luxembourg. And Mark should just give some ideas how we can change things to do them better. But the important goal will always be that, of course, we need a public invest, not just a public invest, but also a public invest in public research. But on the other hand, to give the researchers the freedom to research and to create guidelines, to create a system where they can really do their job as a researcher, but serve the whole community.
And my final question to you, I promise it's not journalistic at all, it's just conversation. With your other hat on, Minister of Education, are there any projects you'd like to highlight there?
Oh, there are so many projects that I can highlight, especially when I'm here tonight and at the FNR Awards. And when I became Minister for Education and also for research, now nearly 9 years ago, I saw that there are many people doing research, high-quality research here in Luxembourg, but it was a quite isolated community. And not so many residents that grew up here in Luxembourg were really active as a researcher. And I thought that would be a nice mission for me to contribute to let grow up the next generation of researchers here in Luxembourg, because now they have the opportunity to find an engagement here in research in Luxembourg, and it would be really nice to see them working in this domain. And that's why, for example, we created a new course in primary schools about coding. We created digital sciences as a new course in our secondary schools. I just met some teachers here outside that created a new initiative, Forschen to Bausch, to do research and go outside with little children from primary schools. And I try to transmit them the principles of research. And that's not so difficult, because every child is a researcher. Every child is curious and wants to understand his environment and the world. But we have more than that. Especially we have the fantastic initiatives from the FNR. We all know Mr. Science, and every little boy and every little girl in Luxembourg wants to become once Mr. Science. And that's an important mission next to the mission of FNR is not just to finance research now, but it's also to invest in the next generation of researchers. And that's what Mr. Science and many others in FNR are doing, and they're doing it well.
Minister, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening.
Bye.
Now we will proceed to the first award category of this evening, which is the Award for Outstanding PhD Thesis. And here we have a short list of 4 candidates, who are Akash Arora from the SNT at the University of Luxembourg in collaboration with SES, Javier Wabi Almenar from the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, Alireza Hakikatniyat, also from the SNT at the University of Luxembourg, and Hanna Wurzer from the Luxembourg Institute of Health. And we have one winner, and this is Akash Arora from SNT, University of Luxembourg. Now, Akash, you were supervised by Björn Ottersten at SNT and by Joël Grotz at SES. And we will have a little chat in a moment, but before we do that, let's watch the video, what your project is all about.
I am Akash Arora. I'm an electrical engineer, and I received an FNR Award for Outstanding PhD Thesis for designing future wireless communication systems envisioned for 5G, 6G, and beyond. An increasing number of applications in our everyday life require wireless communications to be fast and in multiple locations at once, like digital medicine, virtual or augmented reality, and remote work or schooling. To meet these demands, our mobile and satellite communication systems need to be adapted. The capacity needs to increase. You can do this by putting more antennas in so-called large-scale antenna array systems. But if you have many antennas, you get scalability issues. If you have hundreds or even thousands of antennas and more users, the signals should be understandable for every user. How do we optimize the system to efficiently transmit the information from a transmitter to a receiver? Signals need to be directed towards the intended users while minimizing interference to others. This is called precoding or beamforming. To achieve this, you need techniques to ensure efficient transmission and reception of signals. The environment around users changes very fast within milliseconds, and the parameters of the multi-antenna system need to be adapted equally fast to maintain quality of service. This requires efficient and scalable algorithms. These are systematic procedures with defined steps to complete a task, a bit like a recipe for baking a cake. During my thesis at the SNT at the University of Luxembourg, I designed novel, efficient, and scalable signal processing algorithms for future wireless multi-antenna systems. And I tested them on practical models and datasets that were provided by the European Space Agency and SES in Luxembourg. This is something I really like in my work, develop techniques that can be realized in practice.
Now, Akash, last time we saw each other, we were actually recording that video together. The awardees, they see their video for the first time this evening, so it's also a special moment for them. Now, Akash, you must have some people to thank.
Yeah, a lot, actually. First of all, I'm honored to receive this award, and I would like to start with Professor Björn Ottersten, who was my supervisor, for guiding me and sharing his expertise and experience throughout my PhD journey. Professor Bhavani Shankar for being my daily supervisor, Professor Christos Chinos and Professor Simeon Hachizinotas at SNT, with whom I have collaborated with, and to SES Luxembourg, and Dr. Joël Grotz specifically from SES for a fruitful collaboration. And thanks to FNR for providing generous funding to conduct my research. And finally to my family, specifically my family and friends, and my mother and brother, and to my late father for their unconditional love and support.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Akash. Now come a bit closer to me here, so that just so the cameras can capture you better. Now, you mentioned it, a PhD is a journey, and you actually faced a challenge about 1 year into your PhD, you told me. Can you tell us what that was about and how you dealt with that challenge?
Yeah, as you saw in the video, the thesis focused on developing efficient and scalable techniques for multi-antenna systems. So we started with a problem, and we tried something, and eventually after a year we had to, let's say, change a bit. And in the meantime, I was also interacting with the other members of the research group, and I also found something very similar happening in other projects. And I got the opportunity, and eventually we found some more interesting problems. And the thing happened is, by the time we managed to provide a solution for the second problem, we got more insights about the first problem. So that was another scientific contribution. So I would say, I mean, it was like an overall journey. I would say it was enriching, and it was something new that I could learn. Yeah.
Yes, this is a PhD is never a linear journey. I can confirm that. And it's also a journey where you learn so many other skills other than just being a researcher. Can you tell us also what other lessons you learned during your PhD?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of different skills. I mean, especially, first of all, on the technical side, if you say how to address a problem, developing efficient solutions, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of multiple projects at one time. I mean, in line with my research project. I attended several summer schools, so that was another opportunity for me to learn from different researchers. I attended several conferences to interact what people are doing, and a lot of transferable skills courses, which really helped me in understanding the ethics of science and how to conduct research. Yeah.
And tell us briefly where you work now.
Okay, so I'm currently employed at a company in Stockholm, Sweden. Yeah, so I'm working as a researcher there.
Yes, so he actually flew in for the award ceremony today. We're very glad you could make it. Thank you very much, Akash. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
Now, the next award is the FNR Award for Outstanding Scientific Achievement. This award should help move the perception of successful researcher from someone who must publish towards a team that aims to change society for the better, which is precisely what Minister Claude Meisch was talking about. And the winners are Remo Krüger and Ibrahim Boussad. Well, it's absolutely wonderful to have you here with me in person. I know we spoke on the phone, and I'm so excited to help get to know what you've done for all of us here tonight, because your research is really moving towards potential new and targeted therapy for Parkinson's disease. And to explain more, I know we have a video.
My name is Remo Krüger. I lead the Translational Neuroscience Research Group at the Luxembourg Center for Systems Biomedicine of the University of Luxembourg. I'm working as a Director of Transversal Translational Medicine at the Luxembourg Institute of Health, and I'm also a neurologist at the Centre Hospitalier in Luxembourg.
I'm Ibrahim Boussad, a scientist at the Luxembourg Center of Systems Biomedicine of the University of Luxembourg.
We are proud to receive an FNR Award for Outstanding Scientific Achievement for the first proof of concept of precision medicine in the field of neurodegenerative diseases. We work on Parkinson's disease, the most common neurodegenerative movement disorder with well-known motor features. Current treatment for Parkinson's only relieves symptoms. Unfortunately, they cannot yet treat the cause of the disease and cannot therefore stop the premature aging and progressive loss of nerve cells. Today, it is well established that there is not only one Parkinson's disease, but different subgroups of patients that could benefit from more targeted therapies. That is what we call precision medicine, an approach that is already well established for cancer therapy, but not for neurodegenerative diseases. We focused on a rare familial form of Parkinson's disease that affects a small subgroup of patients with a mutation in a specific gene, as prototypes for the more common sporadic form of the disease. And we identified a potential targeted therapy for such patients, and for the first time a therapy that also treats the cause of Parkinson's disease.
In the lab, we looked at cells donated by a patient and his family members, and we discovered a novel molecular defect that is caused by the mutation. We then screened a large library of chemical compounds and found a combination of one already approved drug and one other compound that together repair the defect in patients' cells. So we proved the concept that this combination could work as a targeted therapy for patients with this particular genetic defect. Together with our research partners around the world, we analyzed thousands of genetic data and showed that mutations causing the same genetic defect are significantly more common in Parkinson's patients than in healthy controls. So it means that the potential treatment we identified for a rare form of Parkinson's disease could actually help many more patients in the future. We are now continuing this research, aiming for a licensing agreement with an industrial partner for a targeted therapy. Over the past 7 years, we have set up a unique robotic platform in our lab for automated cell culture and drug screening on cellular disease models. This is now an established pipeline for what we call translational medicine. With the help of patients, we turn fundamental and clinical research discoveries into technologies and therapies that can be applied in clinical practice and improve human health.
Well, it's truly outstanding work, and I think we can all understand that because I'm sure most of us know somebody with some sort of neurodegenerative disease. So an extraordinarily huge congratulations, and of course this award is to celebrate that. What's the backdrop to this story?
Yeah, as you've seen in the film, in the clip, that we've learned that Parkinson is actually not one disorder, one disease, that it's a group of many disorders that manifest clinically in a similar way. And so the theme in Reiko's lab, in our group, is actually that we try to stratify the patients, because we see on the cellular and the molecular level that there are differences, subgroups. And in this particular case, we were lucky to get this donation from this patient, and we found a genetic reason for his disease. And so basically we found a genetic way to stratify a subgroup. Our analysis showed this might affect many more patients. So then, after having, of course, then a mechanism deciphered and a stratification way, we went for drug screening and looking for compounds, and yeah, luckily we found something.
After a lot of work, and I mean, the amazing thing here is that you've literally have a proof of concept, as was said in the video, and you've developed the entire pipeline. I think that the phrase is bed to bench to bed.
Yes, exactly. So this was also a goal from the beginning to not only do research, but also to set up a pipeline here in Luxembourg that can be used, not just for our research. So yeah, one of the first projects when we arrived here was to set up this automated platform for cell culture, for drug screening, to have something to do larger screenings. And this has also now become the heart of the first interinstitutional facility in Luxembourg between the university and the Luxembourg Institute of Health, and which is open to all researchers, of course, not only in Luxembourg, but even beyond. And so there is now a pipeline also with the cohort Reiko has set up, where we can start from the patient, get material, do fundamental research, go into drug screening, finding something, and hopefully bringing it back.
And Reiko, I want to turn to you to talk to us about the importance of developing a center of excellence for the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think what we have to recognize for all what we want to do and go ahead in that area of translational medicine, we cannot do it alone. That's collaboration, that's an interinstitutional collaboration, and that was founded in 2015 as a National Center for Excellence in Research here in Luxembourg, supported by the FNR, and that allowed us to invite people to support us for our research on a large scale. There are more than 1,600 individuals supporting us every year, donating not only clinical information but also samples, and a tiny sample like a skin biopsy can help us to go further into the mechanisms and to use these cells as a window into the brain. So then we can really model in our teams, and that's a method established, neurons that are affected in Parkinson's disease in the lab. And this helps us to test new hypotheses.
Well, it's a huge amount of work. I know it wasn't just you two. Are there any other people you would like to thank?
Definitely. So what all is involved here, that's an interinstitutional effort, of course. And first of all, I think Ivo and me are representing here the whole team that is working every day across that translational pipeline in the laboratory, in the research clinics, and even up to care. And I think that's a big thanks to all of these. And if I mention this, of course, the most critical, the most important is our participants that commit. So for our research, we have in Luxembourg large cohorts with more than 3,000 individuals that allow us to have a closer look into that. And their commitment is, of course, a motivation for the whole team to go ahead.
Anyone you would like to thank, Ivo?
Yes, as he mentioned, we had a lot of collaborators. It would take the whole evening to name them all. I suggest looking at the co-authors in our publications. These are all the people who directly contributed and which deserve this prize as much as we do. And but then also colleagues and friends who might not directly have helped in this project but supported us in many ways, many various ways, and also like the technical support we get from technical support teams and administration teams. They help us a lot to focus then on the
actual work that you've won the award for. Thank you both so much. Huge congratulations from us all. Now, following on from that, another wonderful award is upcoming, the category for Outstanding Mentor. And before we go on to find out who the winner or winners are, let's hear what this category is all about from Linda Wampach, who coordinates the awards program at the FNR. So please welcome Linda to the stage. Well, Linda, it's so lovely to have you here. Another lady from the FNR next to me. It's the second year that this category is running, and it was your idea to introduce it. So why did you suggest it?
Yeah, it's already second year, so it's second birthday, and I'm very proud where the category is at the moment. Many more years to come. And I love all the categories, of course, but this one has a special part in my heart because it's really based on personal experiences. So I did a PhD not hugely time ago, so I really felt the support of a mentor, how that can really change you as a person, but also as a researcher is really essential. And so, however, often that is an aspect that's very underrated and also not really honored. So we wanted to change that and honor those people that really support researchers, because we say researchers, they drive innovation, they drive the technology of the future. But who's driving the researchers in big part? That's mentors. That's the people really dragging them through sometimes. I mean, a PhD can be really a challenge, so they do so many things. But then, of course, also, As you heard before from Mark Schiltz, the FNR already does so many efforts to promote and foster research culture, so this was really just a very logical step in the right direction. And I'm also very thankful for the team to help me, because without a team, without mentors, it's never possible. So also a big thanks to Sean and Helena for always being there to build up this entire category.
Well, for anybody who's watching or here in the room, who can apply and what's the selection process?
So, the FNR Outstanding Mentor category has many little twists, which makes it very interesting. So the first one is you cannot nominate yourself. So, that's the first catch. So you have to be nominated by the ones that you mentor, so the mentees. And that really goes, and sometimes the mentor don't even know it. So the nomination can be completely by surprise, and the mentors only receive the phone call from the mentees and say, hey, you get an FNR award. And you're like, what? Okay.
A bit like the Nobel phone call.
Yeah, for Luxembourg at least. Yeah. And then we, of course, also make sure of that the entire application is anonymized. That's very important for us, so there's no mention on gender, any name, any research institution. We really want the stories between mentor and mentee to carry their story. And this is what it's all about. It's not the scientific output of a mentor, which I'm sure is absolutely great, but it's really that connection they have that transpires through these kind of applications and which make them really special. And who can be nominated? It's really going from to. So we're not targeting only a certain group of people, so we're really going, it can be a fellow PhD candidate, it can be a postdoc in the group, it can be a supervisor or PI group leader, but it can also be a director or, you name it. So.
Thank you so much, Linda, and congratulations on creating this little category.
Thank you so much.
Now let's find out who are this year's awardees, shall we? So we have 2 equal winners this year. And firstly, congratulations to Christoph Odenbreit from the University of Luxembourg. So, Christoph, congratulations. You are the ArcelorMittal Chair of Steel Construction at the Department of Engineering at the University of Luxembourg. And we have also prepared a video with you and your students, so let's watch that first.
My name is Christoph Odenbreit. I'm the holder of the ArcelorMittal Chair of Steel Construction at the Department of Engineering of the University of Luxembourg. I am thankful to my students that they nominated me for the Outstanding Mentor Award of the FNR.
Professor Odenbreit is very kind and supportive.
He values the opinion of his mentees.
His knowledge in the field is endless, and he would never hesitate to transfer it to his mentees.
Outstanding mentorship, it's all about commitment and going the extra mile. Christoph always wants us to evolve and grow. He makes sure to point us in the right direction, and then it's up to us to find the correct way.
Christoph considers his mentees more as his children and would like them to achieve great things for themselves and be able to solve problems independently.
As a mentor, I provide my students with the construction kit for their research, literally as well as figuratively. But I think it is also important to give them the freedom to sometimes fail, which is really not a bad thing. You can learn a lot from mistakes, Sometimes you find new scientific ways which you never would have found without mistakes.
Christoph has great empathy, which I try to integrate into my daily work and private life when approaching others.
I have two main pieces of advice that I keep repeating to my students and which are also anchored in my behavior. First, don't believe anything at the beginning of your research. You would be surprised how often the first and basic steps already fail. So we work first on the fundamentals and foster critical thinking. Second, always be respectful, open for discussions, and ready to reconsider or even change your mind in case you gain new additional information. At the end of a scientific discussion, we need to have consensus, or at least a defined procedure how to find consensus. And if we don't have consensus, the discussion is not yet finished.
Christoph is a true role model to us. With his friendly and helpful attitude, he gives us guidance, motivation, emotional support when needed, and great advice, whether it may be professional or private.
He is always respectful toward other people, and he taught me how to approach complex problems and how to solve them. I still use his advices.
At the end of their studies, the PhD students are experts on their topic, and even I, as their mentor, can then learn a lot from them. Every goodbye to a student who leaves my research group hurts, but I'm proud when I see their ongoing career. And I'm glad and grateful for the time that we could spend together.
Now, Christoph, we have seen you have supervised many students over the years, and some of those in the video have, of course, left, spread their wings. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah. First, I would like to start to thank FNR, that you look behind the curtain, that you are interested, that there are people suffering, looking, searching, and are happy when they have success. That is big thanks. Next step, yes, lots of thanks to my PhD students, Maciej Szanowski, Andras Kosma, Valentino Vinieri, and Sarah Jung to propose me. I'm really happy, proud. Yes, and next, also the laboratory team, especially Schilber Klein and Mark Seil and Ed Weyer, who support really in the laboratory the research. And finally, or the second final, also ArcelorMittal, which is really over years now supporting me heavily. Michel Wirth, Olivier Vassar, Renata Obiala, and Nicoletta Popa, and François Hannes. Thanks a lot to ArcelorMittal. And very finally also to my wife, Marion, which is endless patient with me when I come late again and again, or when I start turning on computer on Sunday morning to write down some ITs and so on. She's endless patient with me. Thanks a lot. Yes. But I won't stop before inviting you all to have a look at a little research outcome, which is the Petite Maison for Esch 22, which is located between the parking and Maison du Savoir, which started 2015 with a big research program, Horizon 2020, RFCS, for steel structures. And during our start, everybody said to us, and also in our survey of architects, demolition companies, construction companies, no way, that will not work. After 5, now 7 years of research and work, we have the Petite Maison, a pavilion, which works. And yes, I would like to invite you to have a look. But a bit of pity is that you really don't see what is behind, because that is really the positions of the bolts, the position of the columns, the exact length of the beams, which is strongly regulated that it works, and that we really have a kind of greenhouse gas emission reduction building, which is really suitable to be extended endlessly. For example, I would be happy, that is a dream, to have it in Luga, 2025, Luxembourger Garden Expedition again. And I would be especially happy if we have it in 2027 in International Building Expedition in Karlsruhe, which is 27 in Karlsruhe again. But Odenbreit alone and Carol Schmidt, the architect, which has a big part of the work, alone is not sufficient. We need support from industry and also from politics. Yes. Then we can say from Luxembourg we have export sustainable construction made in Luxembourg. Yeah.
There you go. Avis aux amateurs. Now, just 2 quick questions about your opinion about mentorship and your style. Why do you think good mentorship is important for academia and for people?
Quick is a problem. Yes.
Sure, if possible.
Yeah, but good mentorship at all, let's say it's a model of success, like Socrates was mentor of Plato, Plato was mentor of Aristotle, or even if we go to Renaissance and look to Andrea del Verrocchio, famous painter, was mentor of Leonardo da Vinci. And if we look a bit newer date, Johann Bernoulli was convincing the father of Euler that his son should not study theology but mathematics, and so Leonhard Euler and Bernoulli is a good couple in engineering and in mathematics. Let's say it's really a model of success.
Wonderful. And if you now tell us what has influenced your style of mentorship, I believe there's a personal story there that you would like to share with us.
Yeah. It's a little word. I will tell you the word later, but the story behind is, during my kids have been at school, we have had 2, let's say, two classes. The one was starting with a good coherence, and the class was okay, and then suddenly more and more problems came up. A second class started problematic, no coherence, problematic children in, but it got better and better and better. And during the parental evenings, there was one word, and suddenly I understood. The first teacher was speaking of them and the children and the schoolboys and schoolgirls. The second teacher, where it evolved to get better and better, he said, we. He said, we have the problem, not them have the problem, we. That means he accepted responsibility. And let's say it's a bit more work, but it is later a more successful attitude.
And that's beautiful. I mean, science, this is it. It is always we. Science is never something that is done by one person, or very rarely nowadays anyway. So, and this is what this category is also all about. Thank you very much, Christoph. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Now, the second awardee is, for someone like me, a woman in science communication, someone very special, because it's a person who is quite rare in the world of research. It's a female physicist. From the University of Luxembourg, our second winner is Susanne Siebentritt. Congratulations, Susanne. You are the head of a laboratory for photovoltaics at the University of Luxembourg. As I said, a position that is quite rare. There is unfortunately not enough women in grade A positions at universities, and so I'm really happy that you received this award tonight. Now, we have a video about you and your awardees as well, so let's watch that.
Susanne was my best mentor. She is a big optimist and a believer. I spent my 2 happiest years working for her, and I became a better person.
Susanne, as my mentor, gave me the right combination of freedom and the support I needed when I needed it.
She always manages to keep a friendly work environment, and one can always count on her support either for technical discussions, networking, or general career or life decisions.
My name is Susanne Siebentritt, and I'm heading the wonderful team of the Laboratory for Photovoltaics at the University of Luxembourg. I am very thankful that my former PhD students nominated me to receive the FNR Award for Outstanding Mentor.
Without Susanne, we would have never developed into who we are. I don't know if we can ever repay her for what she did for us, so the least we wanted to do was to nominate her for this award. I think it's a beautiful opportunity to give something back to her and show her how much we appreciate everything she did and still does for us.
I have spent much time in different countries and institutions, but the moment that I joined Susan's team, she made me feel like I am part of a family. Everyone keeps being united over the years, even after some of us left for different positions, research, countries, jobs.
My mentor is the kindest person I know. She will always be supportive and attentive. She cares about our work as much as our well-being. We never hesitate to seek her help if we struggle with anything, and no matter how busy she is, she will take time to advise us.
We are all researchers, but first of all, we are human beings. And I think it's very important to keep in mind that during a doctoral degree, a person can be especially vulnerable. So it's important to create trust and offer guidance to each personality to grow individually at their pace.
As my doctoral studies is ending, I am in a position to reflect on the challenges I had at the beginning of and during my studies. Susanne always offered support through guidance and encouragement to find my way.
Susanne has inspired me during my PhD. She is really excellent in her field and always willing to give suggestions to improve my professional and problem-solving skills.
It's wonderful to see the students around me learn how to fly. For some it's easy, for others it's a bit more tedious. But when everything works out in the end, it's one of the most fulfilling experiences for me.
During my PhD, I wasn't always sure if I wanted to stay in academia. It did not always work out great, and at one moment I thought about doing something else entirely, outside academia. When having these doubts, Susanne would always help me to find new research directions, which led to very interesting results. Now I plan to not only stay in academia, but also start my own research group.
Some doctoral students want to become famous scientists during their career. Others want to leave research after graduation to have a job at a company, some in Luxembourg. And no one is better than the other. As long as they always keep up the good work and they're satisfied with what they do. I hope that every early researcher believes in themselves and that they have goals and dreams. My role as a mentor is to support them and to help them grow.
I totally get it. I have seen this video 10 times and I still feel like her. It warms your heart, really. So I hope you like it and you can watch it again and again and again. Now, please, you must have also people to thank.
Yes, I do. First of all, I would like to thank Hossam, who probably joins us online, and Muhid and Max, who are here, who have proposed me for the award, and I'm very grateful and feel very honored and very touched. And of course, the whole team for supporting the nomination and for making the great video. It's a very moving moment. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for being a great team. I think nobody can be a good mentor without a great team. And you are a great team. You do great research, you publish great papers, you enjoy discussions, you try to understand things, you make good solar cells. It's wonderful to work with you. And we survived difficult times together. During COVID, you couldn't go to the lab, and for a long time you couldn't go to the lab as you wanted. And you never gave up hope and confidence. And now COVID is over, and we're trying to catch up with all the conferences and events. And I know that most of you were really stressed in the last month, but you still took the time to make this video. Thank you. And I also want to thank you for sharing the dream. For sharing the dream of a better world, which is powered to a large part by solar cells. You do your research because it's fun and it's exciting, but also because you believe in what you do. You believe that solar cells can help to make a better world. And I thank you for all this. Thanks.
Yes, indeed. Susanna's research is, of course, more relevant than ever in these days. But coming back to your mentorship, what has influenced your style of mentoring your students? Do you have a specific memory?
Yes. Okay, I observed good examples and bad examples, and I learned from them. But there was actually a book that was very important, which I figured now I read it 30 years ago, approximately 30 years ago, a long time. And it's called The Female Advantage, and by Sally Helgeson. And it's what she followed several female business leaders and female CEOs and studied their leadership style. And it was probably the first book that gave advice to women to be successful, and the advice was not to become like man, but to take the female advantage. And these women that she portrays are successful women. They know how to compete, but their leadership style was not competitive. Their leadership style was inclusive and caring. And a picture that appears all over in these studies is the picture of the web. So hierarchies are not so important, but it's more the connections, the relationships, and to make everybody's voice heard. And it's this model of leadership impressed me very much, and I liked it, and I think I internalized a lot of this.
Wonderful. And that style of leadership is, in fact, can be a model for not just men, women, and you're a role model on so many levels for young girls, female scientists, male leaders, so thank you for all that. Now, in the video, you talk about that you want to build trust. How do you specifically create that environment to build that trust, especially at the beginning of a new relationship with a student?
Honestly, it's hard to say. There is no recipe. I think one thing is important, that I didn't forget how stressed and also sometimes inadequate you can feel during your PhD and as a young postdoc. And I send the message that it's I hope I sent the message that it's okay to be disoriented and okay to feel lost. In a way, this is part of doing science. We discover new things and they confuse us. But I hope I also send the message that we're in this together. We're gonna fix it together. And I think the dream that I mentioned, I think that also helps. That we're having this common goal to work for a better world with less energy crisis powered to part by solar cells.
Wonderful. So thank you very much, Susanne. 2 wonderful awardees in our category Outstanding Mentor tonight.
I've made a note of that book, The Female Advantage. It will be on my reading list. Congratulations. We're now on to the final category of the evening, which is Outstanding Promotion of Science to the Public. And the shortlist is David Degouy and Jonathan Jacobi, secondary school teachers from the private school Saint-Sophie, for a project on what life might look like in the year 2040 from a scientific point of view. Joa Baum and team from the Direction de l'Enseignement Fondamental for the project Furchen de Bausen, which was mentioned by Claude Maisch, offering primary school teachers training material and methods for outdoor research and activities. A team headed by Sergio Coronado, the Luxembourg Tech School, which equips high school children with digital and leadership skills for the world of tomorrow. And Philip Dale from the University of Luxembourg for his project Energy Balance, which raises awareness about energy consumption and generation interactively, particularly again amongst high school students. So already congratulations for making the shortlist. There are 2 equal winners. The first one is the Luxembourg Tech School with Sergio Coronado and team. Well, it's so nice to have you here, Sergio. You can come a bit closer. I don't have COVID. Now, I know I have seen the development of this over the last 6 years, but for those who don't know about the Luxembourg Tech School, let's take a look at the video.
I'm Sergio Coronado, and I'm the founder of the Luxembourg Tech School. I'm speaking on behalf of the entire team. We are extremely proud to receive the FNR Award for Outstanding Promotion of Science to the Public. We found LTS for students aged 12 to 19 years old, who are eager to learn and apply technology in a real context. These students are in a crucial decision phase in their life, and we want to inspire them to solve business and society problems with the help of digital technologies. Our overall goal is to create future digital leaders. We offer different programs in key business areas in Luxembourg, such as finance, artificial intelligence, or space resources. Examples of our models are fintech, AI creativity and arts, game development, or creative coding. We are not a coding school, however, we do a lot of coding. We teach with a purpose, so students link technology and solutions to business and society. For example, our students develop a video game in which players learn about the importance and complexity of mental health, something growing in our society. We teach the same technologies that professionals use. For example, our students learn to work with the same robotic platform the university uses in a master-level studies. Additionally, various soft skills are fostered. For example, teamwork, how to manage a project, or pitching skills. We created an inclusion program called Creating Coding for All, where we empower students with special needs or in special situations. For example, kids with autism or refugees. We do that by giving them the opportunity to learn coding in a creative way, in small classes and with individual support while promoting integration. This is very important for the future of our society. This is only possible because of a team effort, a team composed of coaches, freelancers, school teachers, sponsors, and of course, our students. In addition, we also have student coaches who can gain the first real job experience with us. The content that coaches teach is revised every year based on technology evolution, and they are also encouraged to propose new topics. This gives coaches the opportunity to learn and grow themselves. LTS is now present in more than 10 schools in the country and is coaching around 200 students per year. We always dream to bring this knowledge to all teenagers in Luxembourg, and now it's happening.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Sergio. I've really seen it from the start to where we are now. It's a wonderful journey. And we're also delighted that you're here because you are the man who never sleeps and you've just come off a plane from Washington and I know you're rather jet lagged, etc. So thank you. Let's go back to the beginning. 6 years ago, why did you set it up?
Well, the true story is that a group of citizens like me, actually three, Christophe and Ralph. Christophe is here today, Christophe? We realized that it was very difficult to find experts in tech for our own activities because we all have full-time jobs. And then you always have two choices. You know, you either complain to the government and say why you don't solve the problem, why we don't have better educational system, or you do something about it. So we chose the difficult path to do something about it. And so I went and pitched to Digital Luxembourg and to the Minister of Education, to Mr. Maestin. And we told them there is a problem in the Luxembourg educational system because there was not enough tech. I'm talking about 2016. And then they say, oh, yes, Sergio, you're right. Can you do something? I say, yes, we can do something. And basically, in 3 months, we started the whole story with the aim to create future digital leaders. So our goal is to try to look who is going to replace people like us in the future.
Yeah, I loved the way, just going back to the beginning of your answer there, you guys who already have very important full-time jobs, when you were handed this offer of a can you do something about it? Oh, yes, we can. And here we are today. So alongside your full-time job, you've created this, which is exceptional. And what came across in the video as well is the difference in how you teach. So tell us a little more about your method of teaching.
So the other component was about trigger teenagers to be able to learn from the future. And you can only do that if you challenge them with subjects. So what we do is we take professional platforms like the same video game tools that professionals use, and we prepare crash courses in a simple way for them to start, but then they have to build their own game. And then they will compete and potentially win a prize with the winning games. So the idea is to change the model from learning exam, from understanding a skill or tech, build something, and then demonstrate. So a lot of the work is also demonstrating the work they have created.
And also, which came out in the video, you really focus on teamwork, the soft skills, and you often have hackathon weekends. You have a project in mind. Yes, so we don't say that to the students. We don't tell them, yeah, join this program, so you're going to do teamwork, presentation skills. They're going to say, well, that sounds boring. So we promote AI, robotics, game development, and so on. But what we do a lot is soft skills. Because at the end of the day, to develop your careers, that's what we have seen in our own careers, is you need to have enough in your toolbox to be a good professional. So we push teamwork and project management and pitching skills. You say it all the time from the beginning. It was at the beginning of the video. It's all about teamwork. We've known that from you from the start, and yet you're still here fighting through as the leader of the pack. Well, actually, is the story of LTS.
is about a team. And here there are 6 of them. So Sarah, Julie, Christophe, Rocio, Laura, and Magdalene. Can you stand up? Can we get an applause there? So we have around 20 coaches, which are the essence of teaching. But it's only possible if we have the students, okay? It's not only coaches. If you don't have the students that commit to this activity, this is not an easy program. We are embedded in the high schools, and this is, you have to work hard. If you want to build a video game, it's not happen by magic. You have to work really hard. So it's what we found is this way to really work together. So there's a teamwork between the students and us, and we have reached more than 600 students by now and deliver around 100 hours of education to each minimum. So you can imagine that there is a huge effort from the team to make this happen. And I think I'm going to ask to Mark Schill, we're going to need about 700 more of these ones to share with them.
Is there anyone else you would like to thank?
Oh, there is many people.
In a condensed format.
I mean, for sure, there are our donors, which are many by now. Maybe I take the list so I don't forget
yes,
one.
I know that you have a list, and not just that, but of course, being Sergio, he has to have a very professional list with the LTS logo.
So when I stand the list here, it looks at camera. Well, we have, as I say, Digital Luxembourg and the Minister of Education were the very first ones to support us, and then helpfully other joints, like the Luxembourg Space Agency, the FNR itself, thank you, the Fondazione BBL pour l'Education Financière, André Loche Foundation, State Street, and Nexten. But not only these sponsors or donors that support this program, which is free for all teenagers in Luxembourg, there are also friends like the CSSF, or the Luxembourg House of Financial Technology, which also support us in many activities and hackathons, but also very, very important, the high schools. We teach in the highest schools, which means the headmaster has to welcome us. So I also want to thank you, the many schools that we are present, because they opened the doors to us. So big thank you.
Sergio, I'm so delighted for you and the team with this award. Congratulations once more. And for the second half of this, I'm handing over for the very final award of the evening to our co-host, Michelle.
Thank you, Lisa. So, the second award in this category and final award tonight goes to David Degouy and Jonathan Jacobi from the École Privée Sainte-Sophie. Congratulations, David and Jonathan. In fact, David, I think it's the second time you win this award. Huh? He was one of our first awardees in this category. We will have a chat shortly, but before, let's watch what the project is all about.
Sie den David Degouy an der Sitzcenter 1999 enseignant an der École Privée Sainte-Sophie. An sie immens froh, un FNR Awards zu créer für unser Schulprojet La vie quotidienne en 2040, le point de vue de la science. L'école Sainte-Sophie, qui existe à Luxembourg depuis 1627, est un établissement particulier qui regroupe à la fois des écoles fondamentales et des écoles secondaires, appartenant tant au système français qu'au système luxembourgeois. Comment vivrons-nous en 2040 ? C'est la question que nous avons soumise à environ 200 de nos élèves de 11 à 20 ans à travers des ateliers interactifs, des expositions, des conférences. Expositions qui ont été visitées par plus de 600 de nos élèves. Pendant 3 jours, les élèves n'ont pas eu de cours classiques, mais ont participé à une trentaine d'activités, en lien par exemple avec les déplacements du futur, l'alimentation, la robotique ou l'avancée de la conquête spatiale. Les activités étaient proposées par 50 intervenants, qui étaient soit des partenaires nationaux ou internationaux, ou encore une partie de nos enseignants. Par exemple, la start-up luxembourgeoise Sucy avait proposé entre autres un atelier durant lequel les élèves étaient plongés dans le monde des inventions innovantes et ils ont utilisé leur faculté d'observation et leur créativité pour résoudre des énigmes afin de venir à bout d'un escape game. D'autres ateliers ont abordé la programmation à travers la plateforme Knivelino ou l'habitat du futur à travers des expériences de réalité virtuelle. Monsieur Lehoucq, astrophysicien français bien connu, a présenté une analyse scientifique de ce que l'on peut voir dans les films de science-fiction. Et Ranga Yogsheva nous a aussi fait l'honneur de présenter sa propre vision de l'avenir. Deze Projekt hat de Schüler erlaubt, sich an Zukunft zu versetzen, an zu probieren, die Veränderungen an Technologie vom Moor zu begreifen, an dabei die wissenschaftliche Methode anzuwenden. Die Inhalte waren so ausgewählt, dass die Schüler zu bewussten Akteuren gemacht haben. Durch die verschiedenen Sorten von Aktivitäten hatten auch alle Schüler an alle Lerntypen Zugang. Jedereen hat etwas für sich fand. An die Schüler und Lehrpersonal haben ein paar flotte Deeg Matineen verburscht. Dieses Projekt hat uns über ein paar Jahre beschäftigt, auch wegen Covid. Und es war viel Arbeit am Voraus für ihn auf die Beine zu setzen. Aber wir haben das alles freiwillig gemacht, mit just unseren Schülern für uns alle. Wir sind hier umso mehr aufrichtig über den Succès des Projekts und die Anerkennung von FNR, die das Projekt von Anfang an unterstützt hat. Das treibt uns und unsere Schüler an unserer Schule weiterhin so Evenement anzubieten.
Alors, David et Jonathan, vous avez travaillé ensemble sur ce projet, mais il y avait beaucoup plus de monde impliqué.
Oui, nous sommes d'abord très fiers pour le prix, pour ce soir. Merci au FNR pour son soutien, pas seulement pour le prix, pas seulement pour le projet, mais pour le soutien continu depuis plus de 10 ans maintenant pour nos projets à caractère scientifique à l'école. Sans vous, ce serait juste pas possible. Un grand merci aussi à notre direction qui nous a fait confiance depuis le début jusqu'à la fin, et également aux autres sponsors du projet, MixVoip, l'entreprise MixVoip et la Sportcase. Merci aussi à tous les intervenants extérieurs qui ont bien voulu nous rejoindre dans cette aventure et qui ont mis leur talent, leur pédagogie à notre disposition et surtout à la disposition de nos élèves. Ils venaient du Luxembourg, de France, de Belgique, d'Allemagne, de Suisse, donc d'un peu partout. Merci aussi à nos collègues qui eux aussi ont proposé des ateliers pendant ces journées. Et merci à eux de toujours nous suivre aussi, de toujours accepter les sujets que je propose. Et chaque année, ils sont toujours partants. C'est aussi un grand secours de les avoir.
Merci. Bon, en fait, c'était un projet que vous avez aussi dû adapter tout au long du Covid. C'était prévu avant la pandémie. Ils ont dû adapter, faire des changements. Mais voilà, tout le monde a dû le faire. Donc, c'est vraiment important de le mentionner. D'où vient en fait l'idée originale pour ce projet ?
En fait, il y a quelques années, j'avais visité en Belgique une exposition consacrée justement au futur, à ce que serait le futur au niveau de la santé, des transports, de l'architecture, etc. Et je me suis dit tout de suite que ça pourrait être un bon sujet pour nos élèves. Bien sûr, il fallait faire plaisir à tout le monde, à tous les élèves, à tous les types d'élèves. Et donc, on a décidé de varier les supports. Donc, c'est pour ça qu'il y avait des workshops, c'est pour ça qu'il y avait des conférences, c'est pour ça qu'il y avait une exposition, pour que tout le monde y trouve son compte.
Et le projet s'appelle La vie en 2040. Pourquoi vous avez choisi l'année 2040 ?
Donc, le projet, c'était pour des adolescents et des préadolescents, et prévu en 2020. 2020 plus 20, ça fait 2040. Et donc, en fait, c'était l'année, c'est prévu pour qu'ils puissent se projeter dans leur avenir à eux, quand eux seront adultes, quand eux devront prendre une place active dans la société. Et pour être un citoyen responsable, acteur de ce qui se passe dans la société, il faut être informé. C'est pour ça qu'on les a forcés à réfléchir sur leur avenir, à réfléchir sur le futur, en utilisant, et c'était important pour nous, comme grille de lecture, la méthode scientifique d'investigation. Parce que finalement, on veut que nos élèves soient réellement des acteurs de leur futur et qu'ils n'aient pas à le subir.
Donc, vous mentionnez là aussi des compétences qui seront importantes, vous pensez, pour vos étudiants dans la vie du futur.
Oui, alors quand on a mis en place ce projet, on s'est dit que pour être vraiment acteur dans le futur, il fallait avoir les connaissances. Donc en fait, les connaissances et le savoir, c'était vraiment l'aspect qu'on a mis en avant au cours de ce projet. Donc c'était vraiment l'aspect numéro 1. Et il y avait aussi bien sûr la compétence en ayant une visibilité sur plusieurs activités, de pouvoir s'adapter et de pouvoir réagir à n'importe quelle situation. Donc les compétences qu'on a voulu mettre en avant étaient le savoir et l'adaptation.
D'accord. Et c'était pas, comme on a entendu, c'était pas le premier événement de ce type, événement scientifique que vous avez organisé à votre école. Pourquoi vous organisez ce type d'événement?
Pour plusieurs raisons. Une raison pragmatique d'abord, pratique, c'est qu'on a tous les deux une formation scientifique à la base et une certaine, voire une expérience certaine dans l'enseignement. Donc ça nous rend capables de juger les propositions des uns et des autres par rapport au thème qu'on a proposé. Et ensuite, principalement, on est d'avis que la culture scientifique, c'est pas accessoire, ça doit vraiment faire partie de la culture scientifique. Du coup, des projets d'une telle envergure, pour nous, sont sans doute pédagogiquement plus efficaces, plus rentables pour les élèves si on veut les rapprocher de la science. C'est pour ça qu'on essaye de mener depuis longtemps des projets à caractère scientifique.
Et dernière question, si vous auriez des conseils pour d'autres enseignants qui aimeraient organiser de tels événements, ce seraient lesquels ?
Ça serait déjà de prendre du temps pour organiser des projets d'envergure comme ça. Il faut être motivé par le projet, par le sujet. Quand on a parlé avec David, on était directement motivé pour faire ça. On a eu ensuite aussi l'épisode Covid qui a tout remis en désordre, donc du coup on a dû tout recommencer. Mais bon, ça ne nous a pas démotivés, on a continué à travailler là-dessus. Et il faut être aussi un peu organisé. Après, la très grosse partie, c'est sur l'organisation. Donc ça nous a pris à peu près 1 an. Voire 2 avec l'épisode Covid. Mais une fois que le projet est lancé, on voit que tout le monde est content, tout le monde est fier de faire des activités. Donc là, nous, on était contents aussi et tout s'est très bien passé. Donc on était vraiment, tout le monde était heureux.
Et d'ailleurs, ça nous incite à continuer. Et en mai 2023, on a un peu changé de direction, de thème. Ce sera sur l'histoire du Luxembourg. Le Luxembourg à travers les âges, mais toujours avec une méthode scientifique d'analyse, de recherche. Et voilà.
Wonderful. And if there are any teachers here or teachers watching, we have the FNR program called Promoting Science to the Public, which is, by the way, not just for teachers, but also researchers, science communicators, where you can apply for funding to run your own science communication education activities. You've just missed one deadline, it was today, but the next one is in March, and the award for outstanding promotion of science to the public will be there next year, so avis aux amateurs. Merci à vous deux.
So we're nearly there. It's now time to invite Martin Reichertz to the stage, chair of the FNR board. And we never quite know what's in store for us when Martin comes to the stage. Last year it was yoga, so we don't know what we have in store this year, but we're delighted that you can join us once more, Martin.
Thank you, Lisa. Does it work? Yeah, it works. So, no yoga this year. But I promise we'll think about for next year, but otherwise the video team's a little bit upside down, so I promise I will behave this year.
Oh, we liked the yoga.
Which is exceptional, but I just wanted to share with you a few takeaways which I got from the evening. And of course, it's impossible to take them all, but just the ones that I was really puzzled by and really moved also once in a while, because some of the moments were very emotional. So thanks to you too. I think this was really great. So of course, The theme, obvious, preparing for the future. We even heard about 2040, and we need to be actors for the future, so not just sit there and look at the things. The other idea was to change the society for the better. So how we'll do this is, of course, one of the ways we are trying to find out. So Luxembourg is a center of excellence, of course. What else? We could also say Esch, but I think let's be generous and talk about Luxembourg. And of course, to be a center of excellence, and that was said all over the evening, we need collaboration, we need interinstitutional work, we need international work. And I was really puzzled and interested to see how many non-Luxembourgers joined tonight. It really shows how open Luxembourg is now on the world. When I was 20, this was not necessarily the case. I think Luxembourg has really opened up, and your presence tonight shows it. Science is a we. I think that's what you said, and this is also a message all over the evening. It's we, and I was really quite passionate tonight about how many of you insisted on human qualities. As you know, it's one of my favorite subjects, but it was tackled by all of you. I think we are all human was said a few times, and we talked about even well-being. So I promise you, next year, and I talk now for those who were there last year, next year we will build in a yoga session on chairs or something like this to get you moving a little bit, because well-being is not sitting, not doing anything on a chair for 2 hours. So I promise next year we'll organize something. It's already ongoing. So well-being was said, friendly, be respectful, patience, inclusive, supportive, trust, kind, empathy, soft skills, teamwork. You know, all this has been said by you. And then I was really, I think your first Indish friend was talking about his family, etc., and he used the words which in the West are not the kind of words we would use so spontaneously as you did. But I really would like to take them again, which is unconditional love and support. I think we talked about our wives, we talked about our parents, we talked about our husbands. I think all this is not possible if you don't have friends and families around you that really love and give you their support. So, coming back to preparing for the future, human qualities, of course. You now know how important it is also for the scientific world. Scientists are also human. Wow. So, I finish with my favorite quote. You all know what it is. It's Gandhi saying, "Be the change you want to see in the world," which means be the actors of our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Martine. Well, we'll come prepared next year for our yoga session, either before, during, possibly, or after the event. We'll come in shoes that allow us to stretch and move our bodies and our brains at the same time. Oh, Michelle, that's it for another year.
Does that mean I can come in flat shoes next year and not high heels?
Well, you've done very well for somebody who had a damaged, broken Achilles tendon not so long ago. You've done exceptionally well. And of course, now it's our turn to say a few thank yous. So amazing. Thank you all for being here. Wonderful to see you all again. Thank you so much for watching and joining us online. We have to say a huge thank you to the event organizers and, of course, the videos, which is by Lemon and Most. And the videos you can watch again and again on repeat on the FNR YouTube channel to your heart's delight. Thank you to the wonderful, newly named GAMP Jazz Quartet. You've been superb and a wonderful addition to the evening.
And on my side, a few words of thanks for FNR staff. First of all, Sonia Ramos, who is the person behind the logistics of all the events. And then the videos that you saw, we from FNR, science communicators from FNR, we do them together with most. So I did a couple, but I had help from Linda and Lucy at FNR. And if some of you have seen the short teaser videos on our social media, they were set up by Emily from FNR. Now, if you haven't had enough science tonight, there's something coming up, end of November, the Researchers' Days, interactive workshops for young and old, 25th and 26th of November at Rockhal here in Esch, and it's open for the public on Saturday, 26th of November. Come and join us there to touch science and meet researchers from the Luxembourg research system.
Well, we have nothing else to add apart from thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely evening. And for those here present, well,
let's have a drink.
Thank you all.